Hi everyone, Morgan here. So today we are going to talk generators, and more specifically, how can we choose a generator? Like a lot of people are always wondering, how do I choose the right generator for me? Now I've talked about generator safety, and I'm going to put a link down below to that video. Okay, so first, before we even talk about specific types of generators to consider, I want you to consider exactly what you want to power. What is it that you're going to want to power, and for how long? Are you going to want to power a fridge, a freezer? And the thing about a lot of energy is it's not just the run. Like, let's say, there's a refrigerator, maybe it takes, 100 watts an hour or something. There's also like, it takes a little bit of energy, extra energy every so often. And also when it's like powering, there's like the 100 watts when it's just running, right? And then let's say it'll take like 150 watts when it's like actually in the cooling cycle, that kind of thing. Or there's also like a startup, like if you're just starting a fridge, basically, like a brand new fridge, then that will take a little bit of extra energy as well. So there's the run energy of, let's just say 100 watts, but there's also extra energy that you want to work in there as well. So, do you want to power a fridge? Do you want to power a freezer? Do you want to power your laptops and phones and whatever else, right? Let's say there's just a bunch of stuff that you want to charge. Figure that out and find the wattage. Find the run time of wattage, like the basic wattage, and then also find the extra energy that it might need for the extra cooling, when it's actually actively cooling, that kind of thing. Okay, so once you've found out your energy needs, now we can start looking at generators. Now, generators come in all different sizes and kinds and that kind of thing. So as you can see behind me, that's a Honda generator. It's extremely fuel efficient. It's also really, really quiet. So that could definitely be a consideration for a lot of people. Something you also want to keep in mind, though, a lot of people are just very concerned about the loudness of generators. Like, generators are so loud, and that's like one of the biggest complaints among preppers because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. But a generator may not always be for, SHTF end of the world situations. Maybe a generator is just going to be because your lights went out because of a hurricane or a tornado or something. You know what I mean? Like, and then all your neighbors are having generators as well, right? So you're not going to be the only one with a generator. And in situations where some type of natural disaster has happened, it's very highly unlikely that you're going to be the only one ever with a generator. But it's nice to have the quieter generators just in general. Those loud generators, they're just loud and obnoxious. They're just for me. Who cares about my neighbors, right? So you definitely want to consider, how loud certain generators are. We had, our dual purpose generator, so you're seeing some pictures here. I love the dual purpose because you can run it either on gasoline or you can run it on propane. And propane is nice because it stores for a longer period of time than gasoline will. Gasoline, even with a stabilizer, will only last about a year when you're storing it. So, but, the propane can last a lot longer than that, and, might be a little bit easier to store. But it also depends. Another thing you have to consider about fuel options is how long you actually going to be running this stuff. You're probably only going to be running, certain things for several hours at a time, stuff like that. Like, you probably won't be having your generator going 24/7. Even when we're talking about a fridge and a freezer, you may only want to run it a couple hours at a time, like a couple hours on, a couple hours off, a couple hours on, etc. That'll also help save with fuel as well. But the next thing you want to consider is if you have like a lot of place with like a lot of light, a solar generator would also be a really good idea. I think the solar generators are super great. They work really well. Again, there's the Honda, and there's also diesel. There's diesel generators, like diesel whole house generators. Diesel's great. You can use a lot of different types of fuel with diesel generators, which makes it really, efficient and nice. So it's nice to have something like that as well. Diesel generators tend to run a little more expensive, like quite a bit more expensive than some other types of generators, even more expensive than a Honda. But outside of all these generators, the one thing you want to look at is the type of how much wattage they're going to be able to charge. So if it's charging, 5,000 watts, then you probably have a max of, I would say, about 4,000 watts, because you want like maybe the extra 500 to 1,000 for any fluctuations, anything like that, especially like if you're powering fridges or freezers, things like that. So you don't want to completely max out your generator. But 4,000 watts is quite a bit of watts to work with. Even 5,000, that's quite a bit of watts to work with. You should be able to power anything you want to power, except maybe not a freeze dryer. You probably wouldn't be able to power a freeze dryer, maybe not even a dehydrator, that kind of stuff, just because the actual length of time that it takes for those things to need power. So and after that, it's kind of getting creative of how are you using your power. Like I said, like if you have a solar generator, you would Leaf just hit me in the face. You would have your solar generator running, and then you might power and charge everything during the day while you're getting that power, prime sun time, you know what I mean? And the solar generators tend to be pretty quiet as well. So those are considerations on how to choose a generator. First, find out what exactly you want to power. Second, find out what type of features you might want out of it. Dual fuel, fuel efficiency, quiet, what type of fuel are you willing and able to store where you are? A lot of apartments, you may be able to have like propane, like for your barbecue or something. So maybe you can store an extra propane tank or something to go with your dual fuel generator. You know what I mean? So, there's a couple of considerations there for sure, but solar is always really nice as well. So thank y'all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I hope that was helpful. Talk to y'all later. Bye.